Hello. Welcome to today's Rise of the False Gods book study, Transformation through Illumination. I hope you've been getting some illumination as we've gone through the number of weeks that have preceded today. Um, and we got a ways to go yet. Now, if this is your first time, please be sure to go to YouTube and you can search Rise of the False Gods, Alicia Leslie, uh, Transformation through Illumination. And you can see all the videos so you don't miss a thing because there's a lot of really good stuff in here. All righty. Please know that I welcome comments and questions. I cannot always see the comments and questions as they come up. So I will answer them after, excuse me, after the book study. Okay. Today we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday on page 157 if you're following in the print version. And you can search uh, the you can search Kindle for marriage and why it's not working. And it starts off with marriage vows when seen as sacred commitment. So if you're going to search Kindle to get to that spot, that's how you do that. So marriage vows, when seen as a sacred commitment, provide a safe, secure foundation for a happy, healthy life and family. When one or both partners see their personal, carnal, or emotional craving as more important than their vows to their partner and their partnership, their marriage, suffering follows. I mean, what I'm trying to show you here is practical application of spiritual principle. Practical application. It's just a simple, why do something that's going to hurt yourself, right? But we do it all the time. So that's why I'm hoping to teach you to make the connection between the cause and the effect so that you can change the cause, therefore change the effect of the painful events and circumstances in your life and in the world, even when we do it collectively. Okay. Um, let's see, when that becomes the norm. So when finding your personal desires more important than the good of the whole, that's when really the pain and suffering that we'd like to stop happens. And what the really big problem is when it becomes the norm. Infidelity is a norm today. Many people do not honor the vows. It's more like Barbosa said, it's just a kind of guideline. That's not what a vow is. And as soon as we really get what a vow is in our entire life, that means, can our word be trusted? If we say we're going to be somewhere, will we be there? We say we're going to do something, will we do there? Do we have the character, which is really shown in what you do when nobody's looking? And but it all right tonight, we're applying it to marriage. Okay. There are cases when a divorce is the only answer. This would be the case of abuse, addiction, other valid threats to family members, and the refusal of the other partner to cooperate in maintaining the marriage. So you got to have two people willing to work on it. If you don't, you've got a victim and a perpetrator. Um, and you want to know, see, it's not like you should never, divorce should be a never happen thing. It shouldn't be that divorce is seen as the first and easy option. You're in it to learn a lesson. If you don't learn the lesson, you're going to make the same mistake again, and you're going to be back in the pain and suffering, only with a different person. Okay. You When you learn your lesson is when things change. And the negative circumstances surrounding not learning our lessons is not punishment, it is encouragement to try something else. All right. And when I say divorce is the only answer, my first marriage was 17 years, and they were not pleasant. And as our 15th year was approaching, my mother in law, who I always loved and still do, she's on the other side, but we had a very good relationship. They wanted to throw us an anniversary party for our 15th anniversary. And I said, no, don't do it. Our marriage is nothing to celebrate, despite everything I tried to do to make it work. You got to have two people that really want to make it work. Um, Before divorce, every couple, every parent owes it to the family to do everything possible to create a healthy family. You do need to. I did everything that was possible according to my present level of awareness. Okay. I was, believe it or not, I was quite subservient. I, um, I kind of let my husband was the one that kind of ruled the roost and said the way it would be. Oh, don't get me wrong. I had my own freedom in life. I worked. I learned a lot of things. I taught a lot of things, but um, what I was working on hardest wasn't working, and that was the marriage. So it doesn't always work if two people aren't working it. But I do know, no matter what, I do know I did my best. Now, over the years after that, with more experiences, usually negative, I really came to understand how these circumstances got created and what might have made it different. Now, always remember, God doesn't work in hypotheses, so don't get really hung up on what ifs. Try something different, experiment, see how it works. As Dr. Phil frequently points out, you have to earn a divorce. You don't just get it, you earn it. And let me tell you, I earned it in spades. Um, for whatever reason, having done the best I knew how to do everything I humanly knew how to do, it wasn't working. And when I went one time to, at that time I was still in the Catholic Church, and I went to the Monsignor, and I went to confession, and they were very familiar with seeing me come to confession. They'd get out the tissues because they'd know what was coming. But the Monsignor said to me, when the time is right, you'll know it. And when the day came that I knew I'd done everything I could and there was no other way, I decided to stop the pain. That doesn't mean that our broken family wasn't further pained by what happened. You just you can't just uh, stop the pain in one move. It's a process to go through, and everybody goes through it. Um, okay, so if you do the best you know how, and you know there is no other solution, then the decision will be clear. I think I'm just saying, don't look at that as, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll get a divorce. Um, One thing that would help to secure a solid foundation would happen before the wedding. That would be really getting to know the person you are about to marry. Let's go back to that picture of the iceberg. You've probably seen the posters. You see this pointy, jaggy piece of ice. What you don't see is like a multi-100% bigger piece of ice under the surface of the water, only that little pokey part was sticking up. Very often in our lives, that's all we know about the person is what we see. Getting to know the depth of the person would be like putting on, deep diving gear and diving down and looking at the bottom of the iceberg to see what you can't see in day to day life. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to get to know someone. And there's one thing that our generation that we need to learn is patience. Patience. Get to know the person. As a minister, I encourage couples to take advantage of the premarital counseling I offer. Not all do, unfortunately, because couples occasionally realize they've avoided a terrible mistake. So that's a good thing. And I did have that happen. And I had times when the people refuse the premarital counseling. I don't insist on it. I strongly encourage it and I do it for free. And so, anyway, I one time, I belonged to the gym when I was ministering in Texas. And I went to the gym one day and there was a lady there that looked familiar. And I said, I know you, don't I? We're standing there like naked with towels around us after our showers in the gym women's locker room. And she said, yeah, you married us. I said, oh, how's it going? And she said, well, when the plane landed for our honeymoon, he told me we'd made a big mistake and he wanted to get it annulled. It was really interesting. I can't go into other details, but Lord knows we tried. Okay. Um, I tell engaged couples marriage is the hardest work they'll ever do and the most rewarding. You must be realistic. Marriage is not about romance and roses. It's about the ability to stay together during the tough times. The romance and roses are the reward. Divorce divides not only the couple, but the children, the finances, friendships, way of living. It's just really, really difficult. Couples who stay together and work through their problems have a greater opportunity for financial stability and happy, secure children and a good family life. But both must work together. And we have to ask, what is the expectation? So, what did I learn much after my two divorces? I learned that, for one thing, and I know you're going to find this hard to believe, so I'd like to point out that I am a member of Mensa, which is the high IQ society. So I'm not stupid, okay? Excuse me, I'm actually very smart, but not in that area. Everybody is differently gifted. My thing was that I wanted to be married. I was highly influenced by romance. I did not think, excuse me, that it was so easy to make a horrible mistake. And once I married, I did my best to stay in an unhealthy marriage. And then the second one was even worse because I jumped. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Frog. I jumped from one marriage to the next. And that was, what was that? That's all lower consciousness thinking. It's neediness. It's codependence. Sometimes when I think back to it, it was pathetic. But the biggest, most eye-popping thing that I realized, my focus was on being married. I thought marriage was easy. What you wanted to do is find someone to marry. And in that single eye focus on marriage and not expanding my vision to what kind of a marriage was I going to create, I was not friends with either of my husbands. We had little in common. Excuse me. We went for the chemistry. And I always tell people that chemistry is cheap and common. You can walk into a room that has 50 members of the opposite sex in the room and probably be attracted to 10 to 25 of them. But that's chemistry. Chemistry is purely physical, hormonal, what I call temporary hormonal occlusion. So I didn't really even have a checklist of, I'm so sorry, what I wanted in a husband. Oh, I had the rose-colored glasses. I had the illusion of being loved forever, something I can rely on. I listened to the words. I was married 6 months after I met my first husband, and my second husband, 9 months. Neither one of them were good choices. God threw out red flags hither and yon, and I looked away because I wanted to be married. Big mistake. It's like brides today often look more at the wedding than the marriage. Now, my suggestions you will not like. They sound judgmental, but they are practical and they are principled. Number one, deny and delay physical intimacy. You do not have to hop into bed on the first night or what used to be the parameter for when to get intimate physically was 3 dates. So on the third date, then it was okay, which is really stupid because you don't know a whole lot about a person after 3 dates. I don't care about how much you talk, flowery, lovey-dovey crap. No. So when you deny or delay physical intimacy, you get to know a person. Sharing your body is a very intimate thing. And, so you don't want to just toss it around. Imagine you're putting sugar in your gas tank of your car. No, that doesn't work. It destroys it. So we have to hold our sexuality to a higher level. It's best if you go through some difficult times together. Don't be afraid to breach difficult topics. Do you want to have children? How do you feel about being a parent? How do you feel about accepting me that I have a child or children? How do you feel about whose money is whose? Those are the things that we really delve into in premarital counseling. So I didn't put it on the little list I just made up, but premarital counseling is very important. You want to really, really get to know your partner. So I know it probably feels like you'd much rather cuddle and snuggle and nibble on each other's ears and all that other stuff. Best way to get to know people, do things, go out, meet their friends. And I really want to tell you that anticipation is one of the best aphrodisiacs. As you honor the physical intimacy. As we honor physical intimacy, we build affection and anticipation so that when we share our body, it is shared with true intimacy. Think of the word intimacy, into me, see. That doesn't happen in 3 dates and 4 cocktails. You want to build your relationships on a strong foundation. So, sorry about that. I'm taking out all that all the movie stuff, all the music stuff. Keep your pants on. And just like Dear Abby said back in the day, if he really wants you, he'll wait. And if she really wants you, she'll wait. So let's not make it all about, putting down the guys. All right. So again, one of the purposes of this book is about where we are in consciousness. How did we get here? Why isn't it working? And how we can make it work. So as we go through each topic, I hope that you will be considering those thoughts. And I'm going to warn you right now, it's too early to stop. That means I'm going over to finish this topic, which is welfare. So forgive me, we're going over time. Welfare. There are 2 schools of thought on this topic. One is welfare recipients are lazy and taking advantage of the system. The other is people need a chance to get back on their feet after unfortunate circumstances. Great efforts are being made to cut welfare programs based on the first. The other fights to expand programs. With each side when each side is grounded in their belief, it's unable to consider the possibility the other side may have a point. See, it's not this or that. It's this and that. And that's where the solutions are. Why hasn't it worked? Because we look at it as this or that. How can it work? Looking at this and that. It's situational and it's circumstantial. That's the way Jesus looked at it. If we don't expand our vision, there is no resolution. Now, both sides are right. It's a good and helpful program that a small number of people abuse. Yes, there is abuse. Some of the abuse is because the people that have been stuck in this hamster wheel of welfare for so long, that's their way of life. They don't even think there's a way out of it. But I do believe within each and every person is a desire to be a part of a greater whole, to be working together to do meaningful work. So all the fears that some people have, that these people just want to lay around and take their checks and have babies, that's not really true. People do have a desire in them to do meaningful work. But if you've got it built into your consciousness that ain't going to happen for you, why would you try? Instead of cutting programs, how about rooting out the abusers of the programs, which would save money while serving the less fortunate as well? Give the less fortunate a job sniffing out the abusers of the system. We have to look to cause. We always have to look to cause. Welfare itself is much deeper and more complex than it appears. Welfare is an effect with many causes. To change the effect, we have to change the cause. How many times? Are you tired of hearing that yet? I know, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to show you how that shows up in every aspect of life. Okay, so what are some of the causes? Divorce, lack of education, unemployment, disability, drugs, generational poverty, which is what I was talking about earlier, and apathy regarding one's own worth or ability. A lot of people do not believe they can do better. A lot of people were told they weren't worth anything for many years. All that shift happens where? In consciousness. What about we have to get that illumination, transformation through illumination? Sometimes we can't do it on our own. We need someone else to help us. Look to cause. You want to change the cause, change the effect, change the cause. Welfare itself is much deeper and more complex than it appears. Welfare is an effect with many causes. Oh, I already did that. Got so into that, I forgot I already read that part. Okay. See, where did I end? There we go. We are each born with a desire to create, to express, and to live a productive life as a part of a greater whole. We do have that desire. Ask any child from any socioeconomic level, what do you want to be when you grow up? Very, very few children say they don't know. Most of them have dreams and desires, and many of those are crushed by disbelief that they can do it, or they're told by other people, or they're told they don't have the money, or they're not smart enough, or whatever. That's the cause. That's what we have to address. We have to break through that. With children born in poverty to a mother on welfare, it is difficult to maintain a belief that this is possible for them. They don't see the hope. A common opinion of those who don't understand the welfare trap is that people are lazy. They might see someone with luxury items in their grocery cart that are paying with an EFT card, that are paying with a welfare card. They may assume that person is abusing the system. But if we were to step back and see a bigger picture, we might see that yes, there are luxury items, but sometimes a state softens the reality that they live in low income housing in a dangerous area. It makes it easier to bear. A lot of times people on extremely low income piddle away their money on seemingly frivolous things, but they have no dream that they can get the bigger things. So they get the little things that ease the pain of knowing they can't have the bigger things. What is the cause? Can we build a bigger believing? Imagine, imagine what would happen if we helped people see their true worth and helped them contribute to the greater whole. What if we infused young people with hope and opened their souls to their potential? Now, because the job is big and difficult and overwhelming does not mean it's impossible. What if we learn how to hold people accountable without shame and degradation? What if we had programs to educate people about the welfare program and how it works, and to change that thinking that welfare people are unworthy people, that welfare people are lazy or stupid or I don't know, whatever tacky word we might think of. What if we could give hope and excitement? There have been those types of programs in the past. Think of you probably aren't old enough to know about the CCC, but back during Depression days, which I was not there for, but during the Depression days, there was the Citizens Conservation Corps. Those people who were out of work because of the Depression worked. They found ways to work, to pay them to work on uh, government things, jobs that needed to be done. A branch of that is still in existence. It's called the California Conservation Corps. And it's where young people can go to get their lives together. If they have no skills, they learn skills. They work in the national forests. They do all kinds of civic work for conservation. There are ways. There is a program, I don't know if it still exists, but I remember hearing about 35 years ago, called Welfare to Work. And it was a training program to get people off of welfare, to give them some value and some skills and life skills and how to grow. I do know the Job Corps is still around. It's another way. There are ways. We have to think out of the box. Why? What is that box? It's a coffin. We don't want to go there. So I did actually got through it in not too bad a timing. Tomorrow, what I'm going to do tomorrow is Saturday, so I don't do anything. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to post the video I did previously on politics. I did that right before the election because I thought it was a timely way. So it's the section that follows next in the book. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and post it tomorrow. And then we will be going on Monday. We're going to go into prison. It's another interesting one to look at. So for tonight, that will be the end of our study. And for anyone who is watching now and wishes to hang around, I'm going to end this video, and then I'm going to do a Facebook Live on my thoughts about what happened this past Wednesday with the siege at the the Capitol. So it is my never to be humble opinion. So maybe I'll see you shortly. If not, look for it on YouTube or check back on my page later. Meantime, have a good day. We'll talk to you later.